Hey guys, hello everyone. It is Fabulous Friday. I hope everyone is feeling the fabulosity in the atmosphere. First and foremost, I want to thank you all for joining me, whether you're watching me via Facebook Live or whether you're watching me on Periscope. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're about to have an amazing time just really discussing a few things that God has given me. If this is your first time joining me on Periscope, first time joining me on Facebook, then I want to say welcome and thank you so much for tuning in. I am Trish M. I am the CEO, founder, and visionary of Trish M Ministries. I am also the executive pastor of Mind of Christ International, serving alongside my fabulous husband, Pastor Derek Morissette. And I come to you every Friday, schedule permitting. Majority of the time I'm on here for your FabFriday Word of the Day. So thank you, Valerie Prophetess. Thank you so much for tuning in on Facebook. If you're not following me on Periscope, you can follow me on Periscope at Lady Trish M. If you're on Instagram at Lady Trish M. If you're on Facebook, my fan page is Trish M. And I also have my Trish M Fashions as well. So with that being said, I really wanted to go ahead and talk. Hey, Jeff, thank you so much, Jeff, for tuning in. Bless you, man of God. I appreciate you coming on. I want to talk to you about something that's very dear to my heart, something that I had to learn to embrace, something that God showed me how to be very strategic. And on this episode of our FabFriday Word of the Day, I'm going to really challenge you in some areas, perhaps even give you some homework, some things to think about, because we are in a season of harvest, a season of great abundance, a season of blessings and prosperity. Prophetically, the Lord has given me that. I'm going to keep reminding you of this word. I don't care what it looks like, sounds like, or seems like. We are in that season, we're in that time, and we're in that hour. We just have to endure as good soldiers, okay? So our hope is until the end. But let me tell you something. In your enduring, there are times where you're going to feel like a failure. There are times where you feel like things are not working out the way they should. There are times when things are going to go chaotic. And if you would, take a minute to invite your followers, invite your friends to come in, because I really want to say something that I hope will catapult you or them to the next level of what God is doing. So we're in a season of harvest. We're in a season of abundance. And one of the things that God told me to do was to challenge the people of God to go back and look at your failures. I want you to write down your failures, things that you felt like did not go well in your life, things that that just didn't make sense. And you wonder, why, God, why am I experiencing this? Why am I going through such hardships? Why didn't this go the way I thought? These are all things in regards to failure. And so what I need you to do is I need you to take a note on a piece of paper, because we're going to write something down here. Take a note of all your failures or things that, because you wouldn't necessarily, some of you wouldn't necessarily call it a failure, but call it something that you didn't experience the fullness of what you wanted out of. Write that down, because let me tell you something. I've been talking to you somewhat spiritual, somewhat business, and again, giving you a mixture of the two for the last few weeks. And it's just really something that God is putting in me to do, is to really pull on you, because what he's challenged me to do in this season is to build up kingdom entrepreneurs, kingdom financiers, and just really challenge people mentally, spiritually, relationally, financially. You know, whether you got a side hustle, whether you got a regular hustle, or whatever it is, if you're just looking for increase, you're looking for your next level, there is something in your failure that you have to learn, not only learn from, but run with, okay? Now, look, write down whatever it was that didn't go well, and then write down what you got out of that. Write down what you got out of that. You know, I've shared with you my experience of running a translation agency and making $125 in 1 year to catapulting to 6 figures just like that. And I felt like such a failure when I did that. I felt like giving up. I felt like returning to that place called Egypt, which was my bondage. I didn't even really know that it was bondage, but I felt like returning back. I felt like doing something different. And I felt like giving up on the very thing that God gave me, whether that's business, whether that's ministry, whether that's a relationship. You know, think about that moment where you just felt like, oh my God, what is really going on? There was something that you were supposed to learn. What did I learn? I talked to you guys about this bit last week. What did I learn in my failure? I learned how to succeed. I learned how to go to the next level. I learned how to get on my face and talk to the CEO. I learned how CEO of my business, which is God. I talked about that last week. I learned how to fast and to pray. And I learned how to hear God like never before. When I tell you that God is about to give strategic downloads, and this is prophetic, so I need y'all to take this and run with it. God is about to give strategic ideas, business ideas, different things when it comes to business or sources of income. God is about to download things in people like never before. That next $1 million idea is coming. I'm telling you, I saw this in the spirit. I experienced it this morning. God said, because I told you, I made you a promise that this is the season of harvest and abundance. Now, as you're writing down those failures, I need you to write down what you got from it. I need you to come up with an idea to make it better, to make it work. I need you to write this down. This is called journaling. This is what I did to get to the next level of who God called me to be. And so I began to journal. I began to look at my mistakes. I began to look at my error and look. In launching that company, I got one of the things that God told me. He said, rebrand. What does it mean to rebrand? It means to go back and look at what you've done, what you put out there that represents you. What are you putting out there that's supposed to represent you? Is it quality? The words that you say, the pictures that you put out, everything that you're doing, does it represent you? Does it represent your brand? You're not just the CEO of your company. You're the CEO of your life. And so you got to make sure that what you're putting out is a direct representation of who you are, of where God is taking you. If you talking foolish, you messing up your brand. You talking crazy, you messing up your brand. People have to look at you and they have to want to trust you. They need to want to experience you, to grow from you, to buy from you. If you got products or services, you are a walking brand. So you need to go back and look at the different things, the mistakes that you made, and go back and rebrand. You can apply this to business. You can apply this to life. You can apply this to anything, right? So however you think it, I want you to think outside the box. Go back and rebrand yourself. Go back and look at stuff that don't quite look good about you or quite look good about your company, or have you been kind of mediocre, you know, not really talking prosperity or talking abundance. If God made you a promise that you're in a season of harvest and increase, are you talking like that? Or are you still acting like, talking like I ain't got no money, I'm getting kicked out of this, they coming to get my car, and you just keep, you are your brand. See, things that you bring out of your mouth, you're producing it in the atmosphere, and what you're producing with your tongue can bring life, or it can bring death. It could cause you to be stagnant. It could cause you to be in a position that God never intended for you to be. And so I want you to go back and look at the mistakes, look at your business, look at your life, and rebrand, restructure, come up with something out of the failure that can catapult you into the next level of destiny of what God has called you to be. Now, let me tell you something. One of the things that I've learned to look at people. If we think about Thomas Edison and the light bulb, do you know how many times that Thomas Edison failed? He failed over 10,000 times in trying to develop the light bulb. He failed. Can you imagine failing 10,000 times at something in your life and not giving up. I'm sure he wanted to give up. When I started my business of 10 years ago, I wanted to give up. But you know what? It wasn't even 10,000 times in of not being successful or 10,000 mistakes. It was like one. It's like, okay, the mistake is I don't have what I want right now, and that's financial increase. So you know what? I want to go back to where you delivered me from, because I need to help you out, God. You're the CEO of this business. You're the CEO of my life. I trust you with it, but I feel like I need to help you out. Has anybody ever been in that position? Think about Thomas Edison, the lights that we have right now in our homes. I mean, the evolution of lights. He messed up. He failed 10,000 times. You might have failed in your ministry. You might have failed in a marriage. You might feel like you're failing in your business right now. But are you going to give up, or are you going to take note of why it is that you're failing, what it is that you don't know, what it is that you need, who it is that you need speaking in your life, motivating you, encouraging you, and downloading nuggets in you like never before? Are you taking note of that? Are you trying to get to the next level, or are you accepting as it is what it is a failure and I just kind of need to move on? Well, that's not what God wants. I don't know if Thomas Edison would say that he had God speaking to him and the Holy Spirit downloading stuff. All I know is he set a prime example for us to keep it moving, Susan. He set a prime example that if we do not give up on the promises of God, if we do not give up on what God told us, if we endure as a good soldier and wait until the end, that God is going to bless, God is going to move, God is going to increase, God is going to open up doors. God, let me tell y'all something. In this season of harvest and abundance, God is about to divinely open up doors and divinely connect you with people who got your next level in the palm of their hands. That means that they have what you need. That means that they got wisdom that needs to be downloaded and poured into you. But you got to be open-minded. I'm telling you, y'all need to get and start writing like never before. Because when I tell you prophetically that $1 million ideas are about to hit your spirit. Come on, somebody. Because in this season and this time and in this hour, God is raising up kingdom entrepreneurs, kingdom financiers to build up his kingdom so that his glory can go across the globe. In order for him to do that, you have to get in purpose. You need to get in proper position. You can't sit there and keep talking about the failure. You got to know that you know that God has called you to greater. If you keep looking at your failure, you'll never get to the promise. But look at your failure as a solution to where you need to be, because there's something in the failure that's going to cause you to win. See, let me tell you another thing, that when you feel like you lose a battle, by losing a battle, you find a new way to win the war. I'm going to say that again. By losing the battle, you find a new way to win the war. The war is the overall big picture of getting to where you need to be in life. You cannot give up, but you got to fail and fail forward. So let me tell you, begin to take out your notebooks and your pads. I gave you one of the secrets to my success. I said I took out a journal. I began to write. I began to have meetings with God. I began to listen to him. I began to allow him to pour into my spirit like never before. And in him pouring into me, I had to rebrand my life. I had to rebrand my company. I had to rebrand my mindset. Come on, somebody, because your mind needs to get elevated before you can actually get to the millionaire idea or the millionaire money and all of this stuff. Your mind has to be transformed. You got to believe without a shadow of a doubt that you are the Thomas Edison of this day, that even if you fail 1 time, 2 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times, like Thomas Edison. You're about to make something that's about to change the world. You're about to come up with something that is going to go global. You're about to come up with something that is going to create expansion. You're about to come up with something that's going to be a blessing to somebody else. But if you don't change your mind, if you don't change your thought process, if you don't allow failure to overcome you, but you overcome it, then you are going to miss God in this season. When I tell you prophetically that God is releasing juicy nuggets into the hearts of his people so that his kingdom can be expanded, somebody needs to shout, God, expand me. God, open up my mind. God, renew me. God, refresh me. God, rebrand me. Come on, somebody, because God is trying to rebrand your thinking. He's trying to rebrand your mindset. He's trying to rebrand the direction that you're going. But you got to have an ear to hear what God is saying. Okay, listen, I told you that I didn't have a coach, a business coach at the onset of my success. All I had was the Holy Ghost because I ain't had no money. I had $125 to show for a full year. I ain't had no money to pay nobody for nothing. And so all I had, my only choice, my only option at that moment of my life was to go to the CEO. Some of you guys are sitting on something so phenomenal, but you cannot have the expectation that it is what it is. I'm just going to go and live my life, go to work, come home, chill out, do nothing. God is trying to stretch you in this season. He's trying to stretch your capacity. He's trying to stretch your mind. He's trying to stretch your hands. He's trying to bring increase like never before. But if your mind ain't there, then he can't do nothing because mentally you ain't ready. See, let me tell you something about the children of Israel. Their minds, they were on their way to Canaan, but their mind was still in Egypt. God had to do something with their mind. And some of them, they still couldn't get it. And that's why many of them could not enter into the promise because their mind wasn't right. They had stinking thinking. They were frustrated. They were still back in Egypt when God was already in Canaan trying to take them to a new thing. He was rebranding them. He was restructuring them. He was expanding them. He was enlarging them. But all they knew was Egypt. All they knew, and they could not get past Egypt. They could not get past the failure. They could not get past the place of bondage because that's all they knew. Listen, if your life has been about frustration and rejection and hurt and pain and all of this mama issue, daddy issue, husband issue, wife issues, if that's what your life has been about up until this point, okay, go back and look at it and learn from it. Don't let that keep going on throughout your day with you as you try to progress into who God told you to be. You can't keep carrying that, but you got to learn from that because that failure, that experience, that rejection prepared you to win the war. The battles that you were going to face, you were supposed to learn from that. You were supposed to grow from that. You were supposed to mature from that. There is something in that you got to run with. Mama couldn't do it because she don't have the anointing that's on your life. Daddy couldn't do it because he don't have what you got. All they did was pass on what should have been theirs, but they didn't have the resources that you have, so they couldn't tap into it. So it missed that generation, and now it's coming down into you, and God is looking at you like, okay, I'm gonna see what they gonna do with it because it's on them. But if they don't know that it's on them, the anointing, the favor, the grace, the creativity, the mindset, the ability to gain wealth, if they don't know that it's on them, they gonna miss me and they gonna stay in Egypt. And guess what? It went from mom and them to dad and them to you, and you ain't doing nothing with it. So then now God gonna say, well, let me see if their children can do it. And then if their children don't get it, and I got to keep passing along. But let it stop right here and you run with it. You take it and be like, God, I got this. We down like 4 flat tires. If I fail once, I fail twice, I'm still in it to win it. I'm not going to turn around. Egypt ain't got no room for me no more because I'm expanding. I'm enlarging. My mindset is changing. I can't go back to Egypt because Egypt can't hold all of this right now. Only Canaan can hold all of this that you're putting on the inside of me. Canaan is your only option. Egypt is a part of your failure that helped you learn how to win the war. So what everybody's Egypt is different. Everybody, you may not be where I was at. You may not have or be an entrepreneur or something, but you still got an Egypt. You may not have a business that didn't make no money like me, but you still got an Egypt, and you still got to do what I did. Let me tell you, this is a principle that is going to work for anybody. You still got to go before the CEO. If it's not your business, go before the CEO of your life and ask him to rebrand you. Come on, somebody. Ask him to rebrand your mind, to rebrand everything about you. I'm telling y'all, this thing is big. And one of the things I did for my online coaching, I had this thing where I was helping to build kingdom entrepreneurs. And God said, relaunch that, put it out, because in this season, I'm about to do something so phenomenal that's going to blow people's mind, but they need somebody to pour into them. So you're going to see me talking about the fabulous CEO, the kingdom financiers for the next few weeks, because I'm telling you, this thing is big, this thing is heavy, and when I tell you God mean what he say, when he say he gonna do it, he gonna do it. He about to expand us like never before. So be looking out for the fabulous CEO, how to build up kingdom entrepreneurs, kingdom financiers. I'm going to do a module, a training module to help people understand a lot of the things that I did, a lot of the things that I went through, things that I had to endure. One of the first things that I had to overcome was my mind. My mind was not where it needed to be. I had a lot of stinking thinking. I had a lot of junk in the trunk that God had to deal with, that God had to clean up and clean out and refocus me, refix me, rebrand me. I had a lot of that. So I'm putting that all in training modules that I'll be releasing in the next few weeks, because I see it's needed. It's so needed. I want to help build you up to be who God needs you to be. So be on the lookout. It's not being released today, but I'm telling you, if you're going to get to that harvest, if you're going to get to that next level of breakthrough, then you got to have someone that is willing to pour into you. You got to be connected to the right people. You got to be downloading things in your spirit. You got to be teachable. Come on, somebody. That's huge right there. You got to be teachable. You got to be humble. You got to be submitted, and you got to be committed. Even when you fail for the 10,000th time, you still got to be committed, because God is trying to see, can I trust you in the failure? Come on, that'll preach right there. Can I trust you in the failure? Can I trust? That's what God is saying. Y'all better hear the word of the Lord. He's saying, can I trust you in the failure? In the failure, will you revert back to Egypt because you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Or in the failure, will you help it win the war, or where God is leading and taking you for such a time as this? We ain't got time for Egypt no more. God has expanded us. Egypt can't even hold us no more, y'all. Come on, somebody. What God is doing is huge. What God is doing is big. What God is doing is going to surpass our wildest dream. So Egypt can't even hold my ideas. Egypt can't even hold all the things that God put inside of me, because Egypt is too small. I'm sorry. Egypt is like a Rudy Poo little thing now. It's a thing of the past. I can't go back to it. I'm failing, but I'm failing forward, and I'm learning from the failure, and it's helping me to win the war. I hope this has blessed somebody, because we got a war to win. We might have a few battles that we fail at, but the war is ours. Victory is ours. Breakthrough is ours. Prosperity and increase is ours. God said, He released the word that we are in a season of harvest and abundance like never before. Write that word down. Run with it. Run with it. Because if God made you a promise, then you got to believe that He can't lie. But you got to know that there are some things that you got to do in the midst of Him making that promise, because His promises are conditional. Conditional. The children of Israel were promised Canaan, but it was conditional. Y'all, come on, somebody. It's conditional. What are you going to do? So thank you so much. Make sure you share this and be on the lookout for my fabulous CEO, Kingdom Financier modules that will be coming out in the next few weeks to help build up kingdom-minded people who are ready for expansion. Expansion. I'm going to keep saying that. Expansion is here. Periscope, expansion is here. Facebook, expansion is here. I'm going to preach it till you get it. Yes, I am. Yeah, call me the prosperity preacher. Call me whatever. All I know is I serve a prosperous God. And because he is prosperous, he called me to be prosperous. And because he called me to be prosperous, I'm going to pour out my prosperity into somebody else who wants it and who ready to run with it and ready to do what God told him to do. It's expansion time, y'all. Let's stop playing with these generational curses. Let's stop playing with these demonic forces that's trying to hinder our breakthrough. Let's stop playing with them. We got authority over them. We got the authority to put them in their place. That's under our feet. Cast out. We got the authority. So I pray that this blessed you. Be on the lookout again for the Fabulous CEO, Kingdom Entrepreneurs, Kingdom Financier Modular Training Program. Make sure to share this message with someone. Go to trishmnow.com. You can get one of my free coaching sessions. It's called Enough with the Excuses. It's time to be fabulous. That's a free download that you can get right now today, challenging you in your failure. I mean, it is good. It is really good. So go to trishmnow.com, get that coaching session. It's free. It's going to challenge you in the midst of your failure. All right. Happy Fabulous Friday. Share the word. Help the gospel go viral. I love you guys, and I appreciate you so much for taking the time out to tune in to me. All right. God bless you. Oh, you're welcome. Amen. Bless you all. Thank you so much.